Nintendo loves the thought of more DLC. Red Dead sales are just as insane as we predicted, and the feds are somehow helping gamers for once. Let's jump into it. What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 17 of Diggity, a video game podcast. I'm your host, Jeff James. As always, with me is the luscious co-host, Luscious Brody. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing great. You know what I'd be doing greater? That made no sense. If you follow us on Instagram, at Diggity Podcast, because there's a lot of people following us now, and it's awesome. So go follow us on Diggity Podcast, at Diggity Podcast, on Instagram. We post a lot of news items. We also let you know when the new podcast episode is up, in case you don't get a ping from your phone. And generally just have a good time on there as well. You can also slide into our DMs, and there's a good chance that either Brody or myself will respond. Probably Brody. So
probably me.
Slide into our DMs. Don't be afraid to get sexual. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts.
If it gets sexual, you're responding.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, already said that, wherever you listen. We're also on Stitcher, TuneIn, Radio Public. We're on a ton of places, so pretty much wherever you listen to, you can hear us. And speaking of hearing things, have you ever wanted to hear a book? Well, I'm glad that you just responded, yes, Jeff, to me, even though I can't hear you, because today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. That's right. You can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/diggity. You can get access to over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player. And let me tell you something. Reading books, nobody likes that. Let the book read to you. Audible can do that for you. This is the power. You're still living in 2018. Come join the Diggity fam. We're living in 2036. Books read to us in our land, ladies and gentlemen. I was going to say boys and girls, but everyone's grown up here. So head on over to audibletrial.com/diggity.
Hopefully.
For your free audiobook download and 30-day free trial. And the audiobook download, like you can literally choose any audiobook that you want, which is kind of incredible. Like usually like trials, you ever like sign up for something?
Yeah, it's like a limited selection.
The light version or something, like some bullshit like that.
Right.
It's legit. Like if there's a book that you've been wanting to buy, use this trial. Get the book, see if you like Audible, continue on. If you don't, whatever, it's risk-free. Like, it's free, you got a book, you still get to keep the book, and you get to go on. And something else I like about Audible, which they kind of explain well and kind of also don't, is that every single month you get free, like, audiobook credits. And, like, say in 1 month, you're like, I can only listen to one book be read to me, right? Because I'm too busy listening to Diggity, which is the right answer. Then the other 2 credits or whatever credits you have roll into the next month. So, I mean, if you're lazy as shit, you know, by the end of the year, you could have like 10 books that you can get for free if you wanted to on top of that. So head on over to audibletrial.com/diggity. Like I said, to get that free audiobook download and the free 30-day trial, and to get access to all those awesome audiobooks. And as always, thank you to the Amazon team and Audible for sponsoring this podcast. I still have obligations because my obligations are not fulfilled. Do you want to roll through the PlayStation Plus games? Because you were the PlayStation dude.
I'll take the PlayStation. I'll let you have Xbox. How's that sound?
Ooh, sounds good.
Ooh.
Teamwork.
All right. So the November PlayStation Plus games this month, starting by the time you hear this, not by the time we record it, you'll have Yakuza Kiwami. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the first Yakuza game. And Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. So, not too bad. Not too shabby. And they're free, which is the best part of it.
Oh, free's always good.
Right.
Other free games, you can get the Xbox Games with Gold. This starts November. Xbox Games with Gold is just always kind of a little annoying because the dates start differently, and I don't messes things up in the show. It's not as easy as the PlayStation stuff in PlayStation Land. The grass is greener in PlayStation Land right now. Xbox Games with Gold for November, starting November 1st, so today when you're listening to this, and extending to November 30th, Battlefield 1 is including that. That's a pretty good deal. That's a really good deal. Race the Sun. This is for Xbox One as well. Starts November 16th and ends December 15th. And then your backwards compatibility games are Assassin's Creed, the very first one, which that's really cool. To go back and play that back in time. Get it? Ooh, puns. November 1st to the 15th is when that's available. And Dante's Inferno, which is also another great game, November 16th to the 30th of November will also be available. So good lineups. I'm curious to see what December brings. I think they'll go hot and heavy for December.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, I'm expecting Toki Tori
with all the new people
for free, as well as
Peggle.
Peggle 1, 2, and 3, followed by let's see here, maybe a Roblox DLC pack.
There you go.
Okay, this is you. Actually, first of all, I have to address this. My God,
yeah,
you're probably like, wait, hold on a second. This is Thursday. What's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. You're correct. It doesn't make any sense to you. This is Jeff in the past now talking to you in the future, explaining what the future is now. The future is that the podcast is now going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Reason for this, the news cycle for video games definitely works a little bit better in our favor when it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the Tuesday and Thursday shows. It also allows us to get more information and complete information when we wrap up to come back forward to the Tuesday show because, let's face it, Saturday and Sunday are essentially dead days in terms of news and releases. So it makes it a lot easier flow on us. Another side of it also is it makes it easier for you to find our episodes, like Friday episodes. I'm assuming in my case, I mean, I work remote, but, Brody drives to work. I'm assuming Friday, Brody's driving back home from work and he's just cranking Fall Out Boy and not thinking about
how'd
the podcast,
you know
and not thinking about the podcast. So that's also another legitimate reason with it. It's and by the time, let's face it, by the time you get a podcast on a Friday, you're cranking Fall Out Boy. You're not thinking about it Friday. You're not thinking about it Saturday when you're cranking NSYNC in the hot tub in the backyard. You're not thinking about it Sunday when you're leaving church and you're cranking, Flow Rida from 2008. You don't have time for that. And then Monday comes around and you go, damn, there's another Diggity episode. I'm just going to skip that one. So we've done what any business does, and we've conformed to what makes more sense from a reach perspective. Yes, we've made it's come full circle for us into business land, but hey, makes sense. And I think it'll make the Friday episode a little bit better. Not that the Friday episode is bad, but I think make the moving to Thursday will allow for that episode, the second episode in the week, I think to be a little bit better. And I think, a little bit stronger news pieces and definitely, I think more like opinion based stuff too, which is great because, we're like a sports show where basically, we just, you're two token people on a sports show that just constantly, bicker with each other.
Yeah.
With
Fuck
stuff.
you, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. See? Ratings.
Ratings.
Anyways, as part of this show, Thursday's show going forward will have Diggity deals in it. For those who are new to the show, Diggity deals are savings that, yes, we pass on to you. It's not savings that we per se have any affiliation or relationship with any of the companies. It's just stuff that we find on the websites, around the World Wide Webs and say, damn, that's a good deal. So basically, I'll just roll through them real quick. Our regular PS Plus double discounts promotion will return to the – sorry, not our. This is a statement by PlayStation Store.
I should have worded that differently. My bad.
No worries. PlayStation Store PS Plus double discount promotions will return from the 21st of November. You'll be able to get 30% off hundreds of great PS4 titles. And if you're a PS Plus member, that discount is doubled, meaning you can save up to 60%. And there's a ton of games. So go on over and check out that list on PlayStationStore.com, or I think you can check it out on your PlayStation starting now, like a quick list, or you can at least see the news piece on that. And then a deal at GameStop, God of War for the PlayStation 4 is $59.99.
That is the collector's edition, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I messed up when I put that.
God of War. Here's the deal: GameStop, God of War, $59.99, same price.
Yeah, no, the collector's edition. That was my bad. I was multitasking.
No.
I was writing notes. So.
No. This
happens.
First of all, the truth is, yes, this is a collector edition, which is $59.99, which is awesome. That is a good deal at GameStop because that's the price for the normal version. But here's the thing: the normal version is a good deal anyways because it's a goddamn good game. So
it's a
go pick it up.
Damn good game. Absolutely.
With that, we have fulfilled our obligations. And Brody, do you want to hit us with the first piece of news here, dude?
Yeah. So the first piece of news is that by the time you're listening to this, there was a Nintendo Direct this morning. So this is going to be completely centered around Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And afterwards, they're actually doing a treehouse.
Do you like the treehouses?
I don't really ever pay any attention to them, in all honesty. Yeah. I usually just read like a summary of them afterwards. But if you're into it, basically it's kind of like a Let's Play with some of the devs and whatnot. And they are playing, I believe, Super Smash Bros., Pokemon Let's Go, the new Yoshi, and there was one other one. But anyway, so this this Direct tomorrow, it's kind of comes at a bad time for us to change what day we're going to start doing the show on, but how we are going to combat that is have a mini-sode on Friday. And I know what you're thinking. We said that about Red Dead, and it didn't happen. I'm sorry.
But guess what?
It's this time, we were playing
too much Red Dead.
We were playing too much Red Dead. But this time, we will absolutely have a mini-sode for you guys out on Friday. We'll record on Thursday and put it out on Friday and get you all of that news and summary of what happened during this Direct and what all is coming to Smash and whether or not the whole the Grinch leak from last week is true or not. So.
Yeah, and I think we eventually too want to do some mini-sodes that will be for not just like the Nintendo Directs, but different announcements that companies are going to be doing. We'll do some little mini-sodes. I think I also wouldn't mind getting down. It's not going to be like a frequent thing. I think it's going to be like once in a blue moon kind of thing. Obviously at the schedule of a lot of these companies. But on top of that, I think what I'd like to do is, even some cool mini-sodes where it's like what we think is the best, gaming controller of all time. What we think is the worst gaming controller time. But that's also something where
just
we'll
some fun list type things
as
well.
And that's where I think we'll also sync it up with like our YouTube and stuff like that eventually. But, you can expect that for the future of the podcast.
On top of the Nintendo Direct news for tomorrow, or today, sorry, there will also be, or rumor has it that there is going to be another Direct later in the month of November that will cover other IPs and things.
Yeah. And that makes sense.
So it won't be so Smash Bros. Focused, and probably won't even mention Smash Bros. In all honesty.
Right.
Which is good, because a lot of people have been craving another Nintendo Direct, but and are sick of the Smash Bros. Ones. But I think at this point that we kind of have to have a Smash Bros. Direct before the game actually comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a whole game mode we don't know anything about, and more characters and things like that. So
yeah. So,
but yes, tomorrow will be, or the episode on Friday will be very, very Smash heavy and just covering what they're talking about during the Direct. It should be short, sweet, get in, get out.
Yeah, I think
and get you
the
news you
like
need.
A 15 or honestly, I think 20-minute episode where we just kind of give our opinions on it. So with this question, I gotta ask you, dude. Do you think that this leak is completely true? Do you think there's maybe some stuff missing?
I think at least part of it is true. Otherwise, I don't think they would have hurried so quickly to get in here and get a Direct out for it. I mean, as far as the characters go, who knows whether all of them are true, but I would say at least a handful of them are true, considering that Nintendo is trying to get this Direct out quickly. I think that this Direct may have happened later initially until this leak came out, and so now they kind of may have moved it forward a little bit to get on top of this and make an official announcement.
Are we sure about that, though? Because, I mean, it launches December 7th. It's not far away.
No, I think maybe I think they only pushed it forward like a week, if anything. I think it would have been probably right around the time Let's Go or Pokemon Let's Go is getting ready to come out, or Let's Go Eevee or whatever. So maybe not. Maybe this was the initial date for it. But
I bet you it's an initial date, and I think like in the past with leaks, I think Nintendo's kind of tactic from what I've seen from a business perspective is cool. Let there be leaks, whatever. Just keep on schedule.
I guess I kind of pictured it coming out maybe on the 8th. So a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, today, like a 30-day outlook before.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Launch,
like exactly a month before, or pretty much exactly a month before it comes out. Right. So they may have pushed it forward, maybe not. But either way, the timing is both convenient and kind of a coincidence all at the same time, you know? Because, I mean, obviously they were going to have to do another direct at some point.
Right.
But it does seem very odd that it's coming out like exactly a week after the leaks came out, which is could be just sheer coincidence. Yeah, man, it came out like last Thursday or last Friday. Yeah, the leak for the with the Grinch and all that good stuff in there. Yeah.
Oh wow. No, I mean I thought that was like forever ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Time for once is slow. Holy crap.
Right. Yeah. You've been in Red Dead land, man.
I know, right? Holy crap, man. Do you think that that's all the characters that are in there? Because I'll give you my thought. My thought is that they announced something that nobody sees.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I think there's a pleasant surprise.
I think there will be a pleasant surprise. I think they're going to go into the story mode that we are assuming is going to be in there. That was blurred out in one of the directs. Do you remember seeing that in there?
Yeah. Which is awesome because the last one that had a story mode, I mean, I guess it's kind of a story mode.
Brawl.
Yeah, it was Brawl. And I mean, it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
The story modes really are just kind of, you know, like a little side scroller, like, oh, now there's a big fight. And then it's kind of it. And then some platforming.
It was some internet sleuths figured out that is called Spirit mode. So I assume we're going to hear about that tomorrow. I assume we are going to get...
You think the hand makes a comeback?
Oh, definitely. There's no way the hand
character maybe you can play?
I doubt it. I hope not. Honestly, I don't want that.
Hand?
But
maybe just a thumb?
Just like a baby hand.
Just a thumb. Introducing
like the
thumb.
baby hand from Deadpool?
Yeah, like you fuck somebody up and it just goes like it does a for like the win and then it goes winner thumb.
I mean, I guess I kind of hope that doesn't happen, but
no, that'd be awesome.
No, and so I think we'll see at least most or any of the characters that they are going to announce before the game comes out. I would not be surprised if maybe there's a few hidden characters
there's
inside
be
the
DLC.
game. That'd be really cool. Yeah, and there's absolutely going to be DLC.
And we'll talk about that later as well with Nintendo.
Right.
But yeah, like, I mean, I think this will be a Smash where we see a lot of DLC characters come into play.
I'm sure. And I think right now the speculation is that maybe the first wave of DLC will be announced at Game Awards.
Really?
As their little
tidbit.
That's
not too far away either. That's this month.
No.
Right? Or December?
It's November 13th, maybe?
Yeah,
I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah, no, I think there will definitely be some DLC and some stuff that obviously isn't going to be announced before the game comes out. But right. I'd be happy to see, you know, maybe a couple surprise characters in the game that they don't announce ahead of time, just as a nice little kind of cherry on top. But
yeah, for sure.
If it doesn't happen, I'm obviously not going to be disappointed. There's a shitload of characters in this game.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, besides Slippy and Tingle, you know who I want to see? I want to see Captain Toad.
Captain Toad.
I think Captain Toad would be a really cool character.
Game Awards is December 6th.
Okay. So wow. So that's a lot of Nintendo news, right? That's Smash.
And that would be the day before Smash comes out.
Let's take our little bets here of what we think the next Direct is going to have in it. My thoughts is obviously no Smash. I think it's going to focus. Next Direct would be after Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, or would it be before?
I would imagine it's going to be after.
Okay, so my thing on that is I bet
Eevee or
there's some DLC.
Eevee comes out the 14th.
Yeah, I bet you there's some DLC or something for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee that they'll announce that'll come out either holiday season or after holiday season. I think you're going to see a lot of bundle stuff where they announce like some holiday bundles and stuff like that. Because I forget what report I was reading today, but sales are slowing for the Switch right now.
Yeah,
in this last couple of months.
Because we had that conversation this last go, and I was saying it was probably getting close to 30 mil, and it's actually at almost 23 million.
Yeah, it's slowed down significantly. Now, obviously, you put Smash out there, that's a huge console seller.
Right.
Even the Pikachu stuff, like those Pokemon games, are system sellers. For some people, I don't think as big as like a Smash, but they'll do justice for them. But
I think they'll do pretty well.
Yeah, that'll pick up. But yeah, I think you'll see a lot bigger push for bundles and stuff like that. I think maybe a bigger push on Labo for consumer. I think it'll be like the one last push on a consumer level.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the reason for the Labo in the classroom, like we talked about a couple of episodes ago, was not just for the use in the education system, which is a huge industry to get into in terms of revenue, but also if a kid's playing with something in the classroom, they're going to come home and say, "Mom, Dad, I want this cardboard piano."
Want it at home, right?
At home, and I mean, how are you going to sit there and say, "My kid's enjoying school"? What am I going to buy this thing for him that he enjoys at school?
Right.
Like, what the hell? And then you have to buy a system for it too, right? So, that's all awesome. But yeah, I think in my end, I think a Labo thing, I think some DLC for Pokemon Go. I think you're going to see like some ports, like some cool port. I think come to the Switch. I think a big game will be ported to it. I don't know which one. You know what? I think it'll be a big online game ported.
Really?
Yeah, because I think they want to. I don't think Nintendo Online is doing so great for them, and I think they're gonna want. I'm not saying Overwatch, but like, I think there's a title that would be online multiplayer. No, I don't know. I don't know shit all. I'm just saying, I think just like a multiplayer online. Something that's going to hook on to Nintendo Online. I want people to actually sit there and be like, yeah, I want to figure this out. I want to do this. Right. I want to go purchase this. I want to get this done because my friends are going to play this and I want to be able to play this on the go. Because that's the thing, right, is all those ports have been, oh, shit, I've never been able to play Diablo on the go.
Right.
Right? Like, that's awesome. So, and then, I think just, a bunch of indie titles.
I think we are going to see something on either Metroid Prime 4 or Bayonetta 3. Nothing, I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but I do think we will see something.
I bet you it's more Bayonetta, and I bet you they save Metroid for, like, literally Duty 3.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking as well. But I think we'll see something Bayonetta. But they do kind of, most of these directs have been kind of focused on things that are coming soon. So maybe we don't see anything on that. Maybe that's something they push back for either maybe some Game Awards type thing, or maybe it makes it until next year. But
could be around GDC time too. I mean, GDC is in March, so there could be a little bit of things. But mostly the stuff that leaks out in GDC is generally like DLC and ports and remaster. Like, it's not game breaking news.
Big announcement. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You know what I want to be announced always on Nintendo Direct?
Double Dash.
No, you done read my mind.
With Slippy.
Oh yeah, Slippy DLC.
Yeah. Slippy and Tingle. That's right.
Yeah. It's the Slippy and Tingle's Big Adventure DLC pack. Oh Jesus! Whatever it is, I think like the Switch. I think the Nintendo Directs going forward are gonna be good. By the way, like, do you remember like when they said that they're just gonna do Directs now? They weren't gonna do these big events, and they were gonna do these video based things, and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, that's so weird." It works so well now.
It's amazing.
Like, it was way ahead of its time. I would love for Xbox to do something similar to this.
Yeah.
And PlayStation.
Yeah, I think these are great. I mean, there's definitely plenty of cringeworthy shit in it, but whatever, some of the announcement shit. But I think for the most part, it's smooth. They post it up, and whenever I get a chance, I take
They
take 30 minutes and watch the damn thing.
And they've got away from a lot of the weird stuff, and it's just gone down to kind of like, here's gameplay.
Right.
You know? And you've got the guy who's translating the video, which is generally done in Japanese first, and then in English, and the guy translating Kirby's Epic Yarn. I mean, it's like, oh, man. Good Lord. But, yeah, I think it works, and everyone's so judgmental on it, but it's one of those things where I think Nintendo in many ways can see the future in terms of consumers and how they want to get their stuff, and watching a video is obviously a lot better than watching some weird announcement on stage or just a release. Like I would love like something like what Microsoft's getting into with all the like Project Cloud X and all that kind of stuff, or xCloud, I forget which one it is, but like that's something that would have been a fantastic little like live stream. Yeah. Just a quick live stream. Show me it working, show me how I want to use it, stuff like that. But instead it's an article and like a quick like 2-minute video. And it's like, I'd rather like you get into it, and like you have a community manager, Major Nelson. It's like get in on that, man.
I think the only reason they didn't do that is I think they're trying not to give too much information yet. I think it's still like a, hey, this is coming, but
this
we're not going to tell you much about it right now.
New technology, really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at even Steam. Steam's doing this, locally within your own home through your network for, from Steam to the Steam box to your television. Yeah. So it's porting, it's having one machine do the performance and streaming simply to the other device, right? So it's it's not new technology, but I don't know, like even for like they have so much stuff separated out. Like Xbox has, like Major Nelson does the videos for Games with Gold and does like your Xbox update, like weekly update. So I guess it kind of have something, but I'd almost be down for like, a quarterly, here's an Xbox update and just like recap all my stuff. Like I don't watch every weekly update.
Right.
Like, and I don't watch every Games with Gold thing. I mean, we know a lot now because we have a freaking podcast about this. Right. But if we didn't have a freaking podcast about this, we wouldn't know. Yeah, it's kind of our job. So if we didn't have this, though, I probably wouldn't know a lot of this stuff if I didn't have to keep up on it.
I know a lot of that, or I used to know a lot of it even before we started doing this podcast, just because of Reddit. Yeah. I would just happen to be scrolling through Reddit and it would pop up. But if for whatever reason it didn't make it to the front page or whatever,
you wouldn't see it.
I'd never know.
Right, like a recap, like a quarterly recap would be fantastic, and then announce some new stuff. Right, like this is what's coming to Game Pass. Oh, cool, great. Like, and this is what you missed out on. Like make sure you hit up this month for this, and you're like, shit, I can't miss this month. Anyways, beyond all that, yeah. So Nintendo Direct, it's gonna be awesome. Super Smash.
We're gonna hear from us again on Friday.
Yeah, you can hear from us again on Friday. Hopefully, we've got some, our minds are blown and there's some additional things added to this, and we get a deeper dive and a deeper look into Super Smash. So excited for that. Other piece of news: Red Dead Redemption is selling like hotcakes, which we knew.
Big fucking shocker.
Yeah. So Red Dead Redemption 2 has achieved entertainment's biggest opening weekend of all time. So this is across all mediums of entertainment, movies, music, television, stuff like that. Red Dead Redemption sold $725 million, this is all U.S., in worldwide retail sales over the game's first 3 days, putting it behind only GTA 5, which achieved over $1 billion in its first 3 days. So this is kind of the list of records the game has broken so far. So far it has the biggest opening weekend in retail sell-through across all entertainment releases. It's the second biggest launch, 3 days in retail sell-through across all entertainment releases. It's the biggest entertainment launch of 2018, the most pre-ordered full game ever on PlayStation Network, the biggest day one full game sales ever on PlayStation Network, and the biggest first 3 days full game sales ever on PlayStation Network as well. That's insane. I mean,
it's
good for them.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, they made their money back in 3 days. They spent 5 years on something, or 8 years on something, and made it back in 3 days.
Yeah, it's unreal.
That's incredible, and they deserve every freaking penny of this. Do you think this outsells GTA 5 in totality, or no? If you were to look at, because GTA 5 is what, 6 or 7 years now.
I think it's I think it's 6. Yeah.
So if you so 6 years from now, does Red Dead Redemption 2 outsell GTA 5?
I am going to say no.
Okay.
I don't think it'll beat GTA 5.
I agree with you on that.
I think it will definitely solidify its place in probably
number 2
for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will knock down GTA 5. I don't think anything will until
GTA
the
6.
next GTA. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because thematically, I mean, you can connect with GTA 5.
Right.
You know, in multiple
Wherever
avenues. Not to say that Red Dead is
right.
like singular, but if you don't like westerns, you're not gonna like Red Dead Redemption.
Right.
It
has a little bit more of its own like special market, but at the same time, I mean, even people who don't care about westerns are still buying this game. But there is still that accessibility of GTA because it's just in a big city. Like whether it replicates LA or whatever,
well,
like
it's
still a big city.
Games.
It's still people, right?
There's also been 5 games of it, and this is only the second one. So you know, it's also it is more of an established brand comparative to Red Dead Redemption. Even though it's scary to say that Red Dead Redemption is not as an established brand as Grand Theft Auto, and these are its sales, but
right.
You know, it is a bigger brand.
It's absolutely amazing to me that a Western game, like actually like a shoot 'em up cowboy style game, is getting this much attention. And I think if anybody else did it other than Rockstar, there's not a chance in hell it would get that kind of attention.
Well, not only that, a single player game as well, because right now there's no multiplayer for this.
Hey man, we've already talked about this. Single player games are dead.
Oh yeah, single player games are so dead.
Yeah, this has been one hell of a year for single player games. And I think that argument is pretty well dead at that point.
Oh, it's bullshit.
It's complete bullshit.
Year,
it was bullshit then when they said it, but at the same time now,
next year we'll see a ton of them.
Yeah, you had 3 giant games this year that said "Hold my fucking beer" and came out with Spider-Man, God of War, and Red Dead, and just blew it out of the water.
Yeah,
just absolutely amazing. So.
Yeah, no, it's. You know, it's pretty crazy. Speaking of single player games, this surpassed me. And I sent you a text message that said the Lord has cometh to the link of it. But Medieval is getting a remake, and they showed gameplay of it today, and it looks great. It looks fantastic.
See, I didn't know you didn't know that, because when we were talking about the PlayStation Classic yesterday, not yesterday, on Tuesday's show.
Yeah, I brought up Medieval.
You said something about it not being on there, and I kind of just blew it off without even thinking about it. But yeah, no.
So when
that's
was
why
this
it's not on there.
That this was being remade?
Last week, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe last
that
like
totally
Thursday or
flew
Friday.
under the radar. So I don't know if maybe it's Red Dead.
I think the Smash League kind of smothered it. I think for the most part it just kind of went under the radar.
Yeah, like I didn't even know about it, but I saw the gameplay today. Love the gameplay. Character looks fantastic. Looks super true to its original. This is gonna sell so well. Like, there's so many people that love this game, and I love. Like, dude, honestly, like if I think I might pick up a PlayStation from the studio next time I'm up there. And take it back to my apartment, literally just to get this game. Like it's so cool. Like I played so much of this game, man, back in the day on the original PlayStation. Yeah. And to see it in like its full glory, and like it looks. I mean, not to bash any job that like the Crash Bandicoot remake was done, but this looks better. Like the way that it's been done, it's being developed by Other Ocean, which are the dudes that created iDarb, and which is a pretty simplistic game. And in this instance, you know, obviously it shows that, you know, their technical capabilities to be able to do other things. But I think this looks better than the Crash remake, even like from a graphical perspective, and just kind of how true it keeps. Like even the jumping and stuff like that is true to like the original in many ways, where it's kind of like goofy and over exaggerated, and you know, it's I can't wait.
I will tell you that Crash is very true to the original jumping as well, because it's fucking awful and absolutely frustrating.
Yeah. Good God. Well, hey,
no, I never played Medieval.
Terrible for that. It's like you would jump and it would like the exclusive
There's
ones.
a little delay.
Or no, it's not even that. It's just like you jump and like your character does the fucking splits and like you're not, and they're doing it like the other way. They're not doing it like, front, like one leg in the front, one leg in the back. Right. It's like 1 foot to the left and 1 foot to the right. And you're like, okay, so where the fuck am I right now?
Right.
In the middle of the air.
So don't hate me, but I never played Medieval.
Oh my God. What?
Like I said, I at that point in time when that game came out, I was a big Nintendo guy. So
you got to try it out.
Rocking through the N64.
When this comes out, man, I highly recommend picking it up. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's just such a cool premise of a game, and I had a hell of a lot of fun with it when I was a kid. And I played it. I'm not putting rose-colored glasses on too because I played it like probably a couple months ago as well. Mm-hmm. The original, and I still had a blast with it. It's a really good game. It's fantastic. I think it was a launch title on the PlayStation Classic. Yeah.
Damn. All right. So moving on from there, the feds are actually helping us out for once, right?
Yeah, for for video games.
For video games. Yeah. We just found out that U.S. feds are allowing DRM cracking, which DRM stands for Digital Rights Management, to preserve abandoned internet-based games. Mm-hmm. So this is effective as of Sunday, that abandoned games that normally required an internet connection to the original developer's servers can now be legally preserved by official third parties, thanks to other exemptions in the DMCA. Before this decision, there was an exemption that allowed third parties to break the DRM, the Digital Rights Management, of games that did not require internet connection in order to preserve them. This does not allow just anyone to break the DRM. Only people or companies that have legally acquired a copy of the game server code as well as its local client code can do so. The copyright offices view this as fair use and claim that it will not hurt sales due to these games already being abandoned by the company. So before this, there was a big argument of it could hurt sales and this and that, but the whole thing here is with an online game, if the server's shut down, obviously the game has been abandoned, so there's not really any sales going on. I mean, so they're calling it fair use because they want games to be, I guess they probably don't necessarily care, but diehard gamers and historians who care about gaming want games to be preserved, and otherwise, and absolutely. I mean, games are a form of art, and any game that gets lost, whether it's good, bad, whatever, mediocre, I mean, there's still a sense of history and telling of the story. I mean, look at E.T. from back on, what was that, Atari?
Yeah, the Atari 2600, where they put them all in a dump.
The absolute worst game ever created, and it is so well known by gamers or diehard gamers just because it has such a story behind it. So, and I think that's just something that is awesome to see that somebody else cares enough, despite just gamers caring, to actually preserve this history. So.
Well, I think it's also too consumer rights. I think is part of it too. Like if you go like let's face it, most of the games in the last like 3 or 4 years have been heavily online based. And so if you go pick up a game at like a flea market or something like that, there's a good chance that you can only play half the game, like to its full features. Add into what's being done now, and most games require, a connection in some way, shape, or form. And so this is something where, maybe 20 years from now, someone has a Fortnite servers. Now, my guesstimate with this is that it's going to be just, when these games go to the graveyard and the companies are done with it, they'll just publicly release and open source the server code. If they feel the need that they want to. There's still an option here where they don't have to do shit, and then nobody can access it. Right?
Like, they still have to have the legal rights. Right?
It has to be an official third party that's designated from the, the company. So, like, if EA shuts down Battlefield 1 in the next 25 years, okay, then, they have to say, here, Jeff, your company is the one that's going to be running the server technology for this and the back end for it. Okay, cool. But in most cases, they're not going to do that. I mean, it's either going to be sold off properties and like bankruptcy deals and stuff like that, in which case, if it's sold off and I bought the rights to it, then yeah, I can just release it, which is awesome. Or, it turns into something where, it goes bankrupt, nobody buys it, and it just kind of sits there. So there's still a lot of, it's not like it's a be all end all to, hey, we can just run this game. And I think a lot of people honestly are going to take it that way, as just, hey, I can just run this server. Okay, cool, great. Like, no, you can't. You have to, has to be official. But if you're going to go through official third party, that means that, what company's going to do that if the game's not doing that much, right? So I think it's I
think the big thing here is just for the rights to be able to be taken, I guess, and to be able to break that, if the need arises, or if somebody goes through and starts cataloging games and just to make a history of them, I think that's more where it's going to apply than something else. I don't think it's going to be something where somebody goes in and revives servers and this and that for games that are long gone. Well, I mean, stuff like that happens, but
and what's crazy too is in my experience with what I work with, I work with old games and retro titles and stuff like that, and when a company goes bankrupt, it's like a fire sale, dude, and it's a fucking mess. It's unorganized, it's a disaster. And finding source code to things and stuff like that is insane. So if this helps in a situation, hey, it's one piece of the puzzle that's solved, right? Because you would not believe where we find some of our source code, just from random people. We once found source code to a game that I won't disclose, but we found source code once to a game on a server that was sold in a liquidation sale. And that server, that storage array, was found in a thrift shop in Boston. Some lawyer who was a kind of avid gamer or whatever purchased that because he saw on the side that it belonged to a certain company, booted it up and found source code on it and contacted us. That's the kind of crazy shit that goes down. And that's it. That's what it's been like. And obviously, times have changed a lot with technology. So, stuff has become a lot easier where, I'm talking about games from, all the way back from, SNES and, N64 to, GameCube. That stuff, a lot of that's been lost or just shredded or not properly stored. And then a lot of companies have died since, during those those times, and we found one like that. I've had people just DM me on Twitter and just be like, hey, I've got this. And we've been, we actively look for it in our back room and in our storage in source, and we can't find anything. All we find is QA discs, and they're like, oh yeah, I got it. It's where'd you get that? Oh, I know a friend who had an uncle who worked for so and so, and he did the roof of this guy's house, and this guy worked for this company, and he knew a guy that did the programming, and before he got fired, he took all the hard drives out of it, and he's had this source code in his basement for 17 years.
I think that you should start a show called Video Game Pickers. Base it off of the American Pickers, where they just go and
I'm going to give a plug here, because there is I mean, I guess I'm more there's obviously Gaming Historian. He does a fantastic job on YouTube. The man is absolutely brilliant. But if you want a show like American Pickers, but for video games, go on YouTube, look up a channel called The Game Chasers. I have watched The Game Chasers for 4
you told me
or
about
5
them. I
years.
still haven't watched them.
Dude, I can't stress it enough. I've watched them for probably 4 or 5 years. I've watched them go from a small subscriber base. They only have 120,000 subscribers. These guys deserve 1 million subscribers, dude, easily. Not only the production value that they put into their shows, they have full blown 30-minute episodes on these things. And yeah, they find a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, I'm a big retro guy, and they found copies of Cheetah Men for the SNES, and they find just insane games in the middle of nowhere. They found cabinets at old toy shops or whatever. They went to a mall in the middle of somewhere in Texas, which is where they live, and they went to an abandoned mall or something that turned into a flea market on the weekends, and they went to a back room when they weren't supposed to, and they found N64 cabinets, and they make deals for them, and they buy them, and they like refurb them and stuff. And they also have like other videos. Nice. I can't stress them enough. Like start That's at awesome. Like season 1 and work your way up. They have like, I think they have 78 or 80 episodes alone of just the Game Chaser stuff, and then everything else in between is hilarious.
Awesome. Yeah, you told me about them probably a month ago.
Yeah, I cannot recommend enough.
And I forgot about
it. I do not know why they don't have as many listeners. And I hope, one day that this podcast is decently popular. And if they're not popular by that time, like I'd love to have them on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
And discuss.
If they are popular by that time, I'd still like to have them on the show.
Life comes full circle. So like I watched these guys before I was even in like college. Okay. And what I do now is, I work in video games, and I work specifically with retro titles. And I have seen them pick some of our games and talk about them. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I could reach out to these guys and talk to them about a lot of this stuff and kind of give them the history on the background of this stuff. And I'd love to do that one day. And I hope I get the chance to do that. But it's just kind of weird. Like, life comes around, full circle in many ways. And you kind of just sit there and step back and be like, man, if like, 14-year-old or 15-year-old Jeffrey could sit here and look at himself right now and be like, yeah, not only did you watch this, guys, but like they're talking about your shit that you work with on a daily basis.
That'd be pretty wild.
It'd be insane. It's insane. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I'll have to figure some stuff out and look at the legalities of it. But I mean, if I can talk about some cool stuff and just, I'd love to do a show one time where someone picks my brain, or you pick my brain about stuff and just go through some scenarios of like how we found source code and like the story behind a lot of things. Like there's a lot of crazy stuff, dude, when it comes to video games that a lot of people don't know about. Like here's a great one, real quick one. So there's a company called Mirsoft, right? And Mirsoft originally had, I believe they had the rights to Tetris. And they ended up selling that, but they created Tetris and they had the rights to it. And they created it for Nintendo. I believe under a work for hire or contract, and they had like a royalty split on it. And like I said, it got sold off later. But the guy who owned Mirsoft got into some pretty shady stuff, like the CEO. And like some mob stuff went down, and they found him, I believe, dead on a boat, like shot in the head or dead or something like that, in the middle of a lake in Arizona or something like that. Or in the Bahamas, something. Because basically what he had done is he had done a lot of shareholder stuff, all these different things.
Arizona or Bahamas. Yeah, it's close enough.
It's polar opposites. But the one lake in Arizona. And just bad luck all in general. No, but he did a lot of shady shit. And shareholder stuff got lost. People's money got lost. And they found him dead on a boat. And Mirsoft just pretty much collapsed overnight at that point. I mean, Mirsoft had collapsed previous, but, they found out a lot of stuff that was done with that. There's so many, crazy things that happen behind the scenes and with titles and how they're worked on and where the idea came from and, like, who the hell, started things. And just it's a weird, wacky industry, and like Gaming Historian does a really good job of giving the pieces. But there's a lot of like skeletons, man, in the closet with the gaming industry, which is pretty insane, especially when you look back on some of those retro titles and like what was done with them. Like, good God, like you want to talk from a Acclaim Entertainment perspective? They came up with the game that killed Acclaim Entertainment. Is BMX XXX. So they had this idea where they were going to be a radical, like they're essentially like trying to be Rockstar before Rockstar really got like heavy into stuff, of being like kind of rude, crude in their GTA series. And they wanted to make a game where you were strippers who did perform BMX tricks.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible idea for a game.
So bad.
So here's the thing, right? So a lot of those games at the time, there was not digital distribution, right? It was all retail. So they came out with this game, and Walmart pulled their distribution license.
Right.
For retail. Overnight, tanked the company. Because as soon as you couldn't sell on Walmart, you were dead in the water.
Right.
Right? Everyone else's all their games were pulled, their license was pulled, everything. So, I mean, that's part of it. And, like, if you go deep into that game, like BMX XXX also, there was a strip club in, I think Acclaim New York did in Glen Cove was like their headquarters in New York, and they had the logo in the game for the strip club was like a strip club that was like across the street from the headquarters or close by in Glen Cove, New York.
God.
And they fucking paid for the license to use the name for that strip club.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
To use it in game as like, you know, a strip club. Like it wasn't modeled exactly after it, but it was the name and everything. Like they went deep into it, and that's single-handedly what honestly killed Acclaim overnight was getting that retail distribution license pulled from them. But you know, I'd love to get into it more one day, and I'll see what I can do. But yeah,
it could be a fun
mini-sode
or
stories, man.
I doubt it would be much of a mini-sode, but that'd be a fun episode sometime or something.
Absolutely. On with other news.
A goddamn book and people get it on Audible.
Oh, maybe I will. I'll call it like, It'd be like something smart.
Yeah, you might have to think about that one for a little
Strippers and bikes.
Yep, that was smart.
The fall
you
of
nailed
a gaming
it.
empire. The fall of a gaming empire.
Strippers and bikes.
Strippers and
bikes.
bikes.
Smart.
Yeah, that makes sense. The fall of a video game empire.
Oh boy.
Anyways, on to other news. Nintendo's president wants more DLC for Nintendo existing games. So Shuntaro Furukawa recently interviewed with Bloomberg. And in his interview, Furukawa said, we need continuous growth. We must keep releasing new software. That includes DLCs and other content for big titles that are already out, and more focus on online play. Lastly, more genres and diverse games to draw in people who don't currently play on Switch. Super Mario Odyssey sequel, more Zelda, Mario Kart.
Nah, man. I think we're gonna be getting Super Mario Odyssey DLC sometime. I know it's been a long ass time since it was released, but I think
levels, like a world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can see that. No, there's no need. If they did that, I'd buy it. There's no need for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if they come up with a second one, I'm going to buy the fucking second one too.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's
anything.
The thing.
Yeah, right. But I think that his statement there seems to really be like screaming at Super Mario Party, or Super Mario Odyssey. My bad. Because Zelda's already had some, whether it was what people wanted or not. It has at least had
but
DLC.
It could have been better.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I 100% agree with that.
The
And
Zelda
I would love
DLC
to see.
Was almost like a Wii U DLC when they did that. It's like very
it was pretty
minimal stuff.
Yeah, and I would love to see a proper DLC to that. I mean, add like a real campaign rather than, going back through and going up against the same challenges, just slightly different or whatever. But
right.
I'd love to see that. Obviously, I'm a huge Zelda fan, so I'm a little biased there. But I'd also love to see Mario Odyssey DLC, or even if they are not going to give us a new Mario Kart, I would love to see some new Mario Kart support of some sort. Go ahead and throw in a new character, a new racer, or some new tracks or something. So yeah, I think the fact that he is talking about DLC for existing Nintendo games, I mean, hopefully he's talking about something other than Splatoon. I feel like Splatoon gets plenty of DLC love currently.
Yeah,
I would like to see something else get a little bit of DLC and a little bit of love.
Yeah, so I've kind of got a different, honestly, outlook on this just from dissecting it. So he says, first of all, we need continuous growth. So he realizes that growth has slowed down for Switch.
Right.
As well as titles. And I think Nintendo's finally learned, too, that they can't just, release a game a year. That's a first-party IP. It's got to be, here's 3 games that are pieces of Nintendo IP to keep people, sticking around and staying on their Switch, like we discussed on the show last week. So that's that part. We must keep releasing new software. That also attaches to that. They're going to need to release new software. Software also means, DLC content, stuff like that in the next sentence. He's like, that includes DLCs and other contents for big titles that are already out. awesome, cool. So keep the longevity of titles out. There's no the dev time to do a DLC pack for Super Mario Odyssey is going to be a lot less than making a whole new fucking Super Mario Odyssey 2, right?
Right.
So that's awesome. That's great. More Zelda DLC I think would be fantastic. No pun intended, would breathe more life into that game. For stuff for Mario Kart 8, I don't think so. I don't think they'll touch Mario Kart 8.
No, I don't necessarily think they will, but I'd be happy
Mario
to
Kart?
see it.
But the next Mario Kart, I think any game going forward now that's not already currently being developed is going to be heavily looked at as, if Mario Kart right now is in development still, which I'm assuming it is, like the next one, that they'll have tons of track DLC, I'm down to have kart DLC. Like I know Wii U kind of touched on it a little bit, not a lot. Like there's 3 packs of DLC. If they had like 8 DLC packs, I would have bought them all. Because Mario Kart, eventually gets boring in some essence because you're doing the same cup or the same track. If you give me something every quarter to come back and buy new tracks and win that cup, I will freaking do that, right? He says, more focus on online play. Right. Obviously I spoke at the start of this thing where I think in every essence, in every way, Nintendo's going to want to double down on online play, and every company's going to want to do that because it's a subscription-based service. It is guaranteed revenue month over month or in one sitting and every single year.
That gives me a little bit of hope for Smash Bros. If they're definitely going to be focusing on online play, Splatoon's getting up there in age currently. I mean, it's still popular, but it is, and I don't think obviously Smash is going to take it out because they're different styles of games. But at the same time, I think they are going to turn some of their focus towards Smash and really like you said, double down on this and really do something to make online and Smash feel right. Hopefully,
it needs to feel like it would be on an Xbox.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest thing. Like, I can get on my PlayStation and I can get on my Xbox, and there's slight differences, but for the most part, they run the same. You go on Switches online, and it's a completely different animal. Like, it's not even in the same ballpark. Yeah,
and with this statement too, this last sentence, whenever someone uses "lastly" in front of a sentence, it's because in their head it means it's an extremely important thing that needs to be discussed, and they leave it to the very end on it. It says, lastly, more genres and diverse games to draw on people who don't currently play on Switch. And that says to me ports, and not just like backdated ports, like older titles that have been out for like a year or two, which would be great. That would have online play. Like an Overwatch on Switch would kill it. But
why ports versus new games?
Well, no. So I'm getting at that. So if you take a port, the cost is a lot less, right? To take an Overwatch that's already existing and build into the Nintendo Online system, right? So I think that they'll want to do that eventually, either an Overwatch or some big, like I said, multiplayer title. Going forward, I think Nintendo's going to pay a shit ton to some big developers and pay some money for it to get some big games on the Switch to get people locked into, Team Switch. Like, who's ever making the next game that's going to be, a pretty big hit out there, and it's going to have like, quick little concept announcements and stuff like that. I think Nintendo will jump on it and try to get them, pay for the support for it, because they need to. Like, they need to have people come over from Sony and from Microsoft and pick that Switch up, and play. Like, there's an article that went out today, which is incredible because, like, we talked about it, in the last show.
I notice that happening a lot. When we talk about it, I hear about things like the next day or a couple days later.
Which is good.
Yeah. What's the name for that effect when that happens? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay.
What? No, you don't mean like deja vu. No, that's not what you're
talking about. No. No, there's it's like, it's not the Mandela or the Mandela effect. It's something else. I can't think of what that effect is, but it's basically like you hear something and then for the next like week, it's damn near all you hear about, Yeah. Or you hear about it a bunch. But
so this article came out where they said that the eShop now has 1,200 games and like 500 publishers.
And about 100 of them are worth a damn.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right? So the article didn't really go into it that deep on it, but it's like that's the title, and it's like, come on, dude. Like, but that's the thing. Like, that's why Nintendo opened it up to get metrics like that. And that a bullshit article in there. But we both know the longer they keep accepting this shit, the longer the eShop stays the way it's staying right now in terms of its user interface and its user design and experience. You're not going to be able to find a damn thing except for first party and big, Diablo stuff, and that's going to cause a lot of indie places to go, hold on, like I'm just going to dip. Like fundamentally, dude, like Steam has it's becoming a Steam. Like Steam has become a place where just people dump a bunch of stuff on it, and Steam basically put out a thing saying, "Hey,
somebody buys it."
It's whatever, just letting people upload because whatever. And it's like, but that's not like when you don't curate, you create a fucking mess of a platform. Right. And Microsoft has kind of done a good job curating it. Some of the games after they opened up, I think it was 2 E3s ago, they opened up development on Xbox so that, all retail kits could be, dev kits. And they created it so that, anyone could submit any game. And what did that lead to? It led to a lot of fucking garbage games. And sometimes a garbage game slips through and you can see it. That's fine. But if you curate the stores and a garbage game slips through, the free market will tell you this is a garbage game.
Right.
And then people won't see it, which is good. That's what the free market's supposed to do. It's supposed to judge the quality to which a customer will pay for something, right? And deem something as a quality product, right, to spend money on. So, I mean, I guess they got what they wanted because that's going to cause a lot of people to be like, holy shit, 500 publishers, 1,200 games. We got to get on there. But that's amateur hour. Like, the big company's going to sit there and go, 500 publishers, 1,200 games. What are the games? Okay, these are a lot of apps. Okay, this store doesn't look very well. Okay, so now I have to limit myself to if I'm either going to get exclusivity with Nintendo, that's fine because they're gonna put me through their marketing machine and I'm gonna rise through the top and probably sell a lot and be on eShop. No worries there. If Nintendo promises to help give me marketing support and I'm gonna be on the other consoles as well, hey, that's cool, that's great. If I'm Red Dead, yeah, I don't care. If I'm whatever, I don't care. But the little guys in between, even a Celeste, everyone goes to this mode. You put a Celeste out, how are people going to find it? Right. If there's 40 games coming to the freaking Switch a week and, 3/4 of them are crap. And then it's also what you said too. I think in the last episode, you put this stuff out there and you have to do your research now. You can't just go in there and be like,
more than ever before.
This looks really good, and the copy is no, the copy is in broken English. Shit. Right. And then you go to the screenshots, you're like, oh, this doesn't look good. And before it was like, oh, hey, I can trust that this game that's on my Nintendo, console or whatever console I use, is going to be held to some sort of a standard, and it might not be the best game in every situation. There's games that are always going to be better than other ones, but I know I'm at least starting at a base level. There's a bar. There's a minimum bar that's set, and I've got a feeling for that. And that's fundamentally going to be torn off. And that is so dangerous because it'll make someone buy something and they'll be like, this is shit. I'm never buying anything from eShop again. Right. And then you lose sales.
They're walking a tightrope with all of that. And I mean... Which is weird. In a way, I get it. They were trying to draw people over, but at the same time, I don't know if they just didn't foresee this or what the hell happened. But
no, I don't know why they did it. They announced it after E3, this year. So it was on fire. They fucking sold 20 million units. Right. Yeah. But it's just to announce that you want this many games coming per week and this and that, and it's just. That you're opening yourself up to all that bullshit, and it was such a Japanese sex games on this thing, dude. There was a week or two after that. There was run. Yeah, there was a sex phone line type thing, on there, an app, a simulated. Why is this here? This has no business here, and it was just. They opened themselves up to this, which is unfortunate. Why they did it, I don't know.
They had to have had some foresight to know this was going to happen, but apparently not.
Bro, there was no reason why they should have done this.
No, absolutely not. And in the past, Nintendo has been known for vetting their eShops very well.
Dude, as a developer, if you want to get your thing on Nintendo, like they have to be like up until this point, they've had to be interested in it.
Right. Yeah. And if they didn't care, but
they don't want it.
You're just screwed. But
right.
Now every swinging dick has a game on the fucking eShop, man, and it's just awful. Have you never heard that before?
No, that's freaking awesome.
Sorry.
Welcome to Indiana, my friend. Every swinging dick?
Yeah, man. Like everybody and their brother. No?
I mean, yeah. I don't know if you ever heard this. Anybody would say everyone and their pet goat.
Right.
Yeah.
But
swinging dicks.
Anyway, yes, every swinging dick. You're learning some of the Indiana lingo, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna help me in business. Does everybody like this game, Jeff? Oh,
every swinging dick.
Every swinging dick got this game.
The more we talk about this, we are just losing listeners.
By the second.
But yeah, I hated when they announced it, and the longer it goes on, the more I hate it, because it's just have you been on the eShop recently?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's a mess. Absolute mess.
It's fucking terrible. Like, I don't even, and it's like one of those things where like, oh, well, you're just using a handheld mode. No, the fucking console mode is terrible. The console mode is a blown up version of what is hell in portable.
Right.
And like, I'm not trying to bash Nintendo. Like, it's no. I really like them. It's just like, holy shit, man. Like, I couldn't even imagine the vast amount of products that they could be selling, the massive amount of revenue they could do from just a rejig of the fucking UI.
Yeah.
For the eShop. Like, it feels like a Nintendo DS. Like, not a 3DS. It feels like a Nintendo DS eShop.
DS, yeah.
It's crazy.
And if they just give me themes, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, you really want themes. I want them to.
I do want themes.
Maybe themed DLC?
I like my shit customized, man.
Maybe it'll be themed DLC.
There you go.
Isn't that crazy? Hey, just a side note before we wrap it up here. The Apple event happened, and normally I wouldn't bring up Apple, but something interesting happened. So that the iPad Pro was announced, and their chip in the iPad Pro is actually performs better than an Xbox One X.
Really?
From a technical perspective, yeah. Apple's Apple gets a bad rap all the time in terms of features, like software features, which I get. I mean, I'm using Android right now. I'm kind of like a unicorn. I've used Apple and I've used Android, and I flip-flop back and forth. Like, I don't really care at this point. Like, I had like a Samsung Galaxy S3, and then I went to iPhone for a long time, and I went back to the Galaxy, and I actually might get a Pixel next, but their chip hardware is incredible, and their OS is a lot less demanding than that of like Windows and stuff like that.
Right.
Any other, even Android. Like most Android phones you're looking at now, they have to put like 8 gigs of fucking RAM in them so that they can run the operating system with the chip properly, and then you're just draining a ton of energy from that memory. But like they basically said the Xbox One X, and I'm making a bold prediction here. I am going to say that in the next, for all intents and purposes, right now Apple is a game company, right? Like the mobile market overtakes console by a large amount. Like if you actually look at what is spent, especially in free to play based on mobile, it makes a crap ton of money. And I think Apple will get into home-based gaming, like console-based gaming, in the next 2 to 3 years. I think so. I think if you do video, like, so you had crypto, right? You had weed stock. The next thing is video games in my mind for fads. And I know people are like, well, what do you mean it's a fad, video games? Like, from a business perspective, I think video games, like, people know that you can make a lot of money off it. Like, esports right now is a fad right now for, let's say, business investors. Like, esports is awesome. I don't think esports itself is a fad in the esports community, but I think, like, any business jumps on, anything that says the word esports in it. But for gaming, I think it's really showing, and especially now that the technologies are to get into subscription-based models, and multi-device, like same content distributed on numerous devices and streamed to different devices. Apple could easily get, Apple's got Fortnite. Like, the App Store has Fortnite on it. Google Play has Fortnite. Google Play does not. No, both do not, right? Or is it Apple that has Fortnite?
Sorry, it is on Apple because Apple does not allow third-party websites. Whereas on
Google, you download
Google Play, you have to go through Epic's website. Yeah.
But anyway, so they've got like Fortnite on that, right? They got PUBG on it as well. You think about that, and you think about putting your iPhone into a dock that plugs to a TV, and you have a controller, and you have a console.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we're gonna go. And I think Apple. I mean, they kind of tried to do that with the Apple TV, but I don't really think anyone cares about the Apple TV anymore. If you can just make a dock where I can plug my iPad or my iPhone into it, or, you make a TV where I can just wirelessly transmit this stuff to full screen, and play on that, that's a huge sell. And I think that they'll get into more diverse games and more stricter. There's no reason as to why they shouldn't. They're the absolute ruler of mobile applications in terms of their app stores. Apple has a much better app store than the Google Play Store from a curation perspective.
Oh, absolutely. I'll agree with
quality
that.
Perspective of applications. Not to say that there's some great apps on Google Play that you cannot get on an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also risky in some cases. But I think Apple, like the last couple keynotes, they've really tried to push gaming. They're really trying to push AR gaming, all this stuff, and I think they're gonna try to get into it really, 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 really deep into it in the next 2 to 3 years, where they get home based.
And on the other hand, Google is also trying to get into gaming. With what is Google calling their service? Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, Google's trying to do basically the Xbox Project X Stream or Stream X or whatever it was. Google is also doing the same thing currently, where you can run Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. So that's pretty cool. So
that's the problem.
They're definitely
Google doesn't get the word out about that. Like, there's so many fucking people that don't know.
No, that one went under the radar pretty well, but it was also a very select group of people to try it.
Yeah.
So it was they were only doing like, I don't think they ever announced what the official number was, but they did say it was going to be a very small group of people that were going to be able to try it. But yeah, Google and Apple. I mean, I can see Apple trying to get into it. Of course they would. I mean, why? They're not ones to leave money on the table.
No.
And Google's going to be getting into it, and there's everybody in every swinging dick. No, I personally just don't like Apple at all. And I know that's generally the unpopular opinion, but
I'd say it's like 50-50.
There's still way more iPhones out there than there are Android phones.
Yeah,
by a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you ask people, like, aside from iPhone, like company stuff, I mean, this is off topic, but like this is for
PC
a different
and
thing.
Mac,
but yeah, like, I mean,
stuff,
if you get into that stuff, I think there's a lot more on the other side of, like, Apple is totality. If you throw the iPhone away, which company do you prefer, Google or Apple? I think most people still might say Google. It could be wrong because a lot of people spend the day with their phones, but nonetheless.
Yeah, but the phone is such a big part of Apple's company, and
it's like 60%
the phone
of their
and their MacBooks, right? Yeah, but so I don't like Apple at all. I really some of the business things they've done in the past seem very anti-consumer to me, as far as like
from what you
changing some of the chargers and stupid stuff like that just to get people to buy things. And that's, like you said, it's for a different show. But So I am not really looking towards that. People who pay attention to Apple would know a lot more about that. Like, and you pay attention to it, and
Right.
and so that's not even something I even on my radar. Not paying any attention. I do pay attention to the Google stuff though. So
Right.
definitely Google's trying to get into that as well. And
Well, yeah, 'cause
I think we're going to see an influx, like you said. I think it is
Yeah.
going to be the next big craze, the next big thing. You know, everybody's going to try to get in on it and make whatever money they can and move on to the next fad, you know? And
Yeah, 'cause
that's just
you
the
have
way our
ability
world
to-
works.
You have the ability to take like a Google Play Store and go from selling like $2.99 apps or free to play applications and making, you know, like a couple cents. Like right now they take 30, like Google Play takes 30%, okay, of whatever you make on Google Play platform. They take 30% of that, as well as Apple on the iOS platform, on the App Store platform, sorry. And so you can go from selling dollar apps and making, you know, 30 cents as a company to selling $60 games, like an Assassin's Creed Odyssey, to someone who might not have a console and be able to play a full-fledged game.
Yeah.
On your phone or your tablet. Like
Right.
a lot of people are like, oh, I wouldn't play on my phone. But here's the thing. If they can sell you a tablet for like $200 instead of like a $700, $800 video game console, and you're not like a super hardcore gamer and you just kind of want to play a game that you heard about, but you don't want to go buy the new console, like you're probably going to buy the tablet from them and they're going to make money off that way. And then they're also going to sell you a $60 game. And there's going to be no difference between playing it on an Xbox or playing on a PlayStation as there is to playing on a tablet. So it's fairly interesting, but that's a whole nother show, my man. And with that, hey, you want to learn more about video games? Guess what? Books hold the answers to all of your questions. And these books can read to you. Introducing Audible. That's right. Today's podcast was brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Diggity. You can get access to over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player. Highly suggest you check it out. Good book to check out is Ready Player One. As a free audiobook download. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. Again, completely free download, completely free 30-day trial. You can cancel at the end if you don't like it. If you love it, hey, keep it. Learn, read. Actually, don't read, listen, because you can't read. That's why you got Audible, bro. That's why we got your back. You can follow us on Instagram at Diggity Podcast. You can follow Brody on Xbox. What is your gamer tag on Xbox? Luscious Brody, correct?
Yes, sir.
There we go. And my gamer tag on Xbox is Maple Jeff. And please leave a review for the podcast. It helps us a ton in two different ways. One, it extends the community and builds the show's reach on different platforms like iTunes and Spotify and such. And also, the comments that you leave in the reviews allow us to make the show better. If there's something that you think we can work on and improve on to make Diggity even better, hey, that's great. We'd love to know, what secret sauce we need to add to our already awesome video game sandwich. And aside from that, guys, we will talk to you soon with our mini episode on Nintendo Direct. So look forward to that. And until next time, guys, see ya.